Lick 1. Sounds like this. One more time slow. So what's happening here is Jay's doing this little lick, though, and he keeps that note held, and then he does a little. So what's important about this is he never lets go of the G, the G string. It's only when he releases that bend, when he goes, where he lets go. So one more time. That's. And what's interesting about this this lick, is that little rhythmic figure, the da 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 da, that happens vocally. Like Bobby sings that in the lyrics. You know, he starts to play in the game, da 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 da. Hardest part of the day. That kind of that da 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 da. That kind of happens all the time vocally in the tune. And Jerry kind of takes that as inspiration to start the solo, which is pretty cool. So one more time. Lick 2. Slow. And I am picking up by the bridge to get that, which Jerry did a lot too. Just as a little aside. So what's happening here is this is the first lick was out of the E minor pentatonic, and this one is also very similarly out of the E minor pentatonic. We've got the flatted fifth though also when he goes right there. So the E minor pentatonic and the G minor pentatonic do have the exact same notes in them, so we'll use them interchangeably. You can kind of use that same scale, which Jerry does a lot in the solo, to play over all the G and E minor changes. When he starts that lick off, he's landing on the fifth of G. So lands on that. Then he does a little blues. Again, right out of the E minor blues scale. But he doesn't play the A note. He doesn't go. He goes. Which definitely makes it a little extra funky, leaving out that note. Because Jerry was definitely a master of what he didn't play as much as what he did play. So that sounds way better than going. So leaving that extra note out rhythmically too adds a little bit of anticipation. Even though it goes by really fast, you can still tell that it's there. That kind of adds to the excitement of that whole little piece. And when he plays that 10th fret, he does do a little bit of a bend. It's not like a full bend, but it's like a really subtle, almost even less than a quarter tone, which a lot of guitar players do when they play the third, kind of instinctively. And he goes, again, still on the E minor chord. Gives that nice stable sound when he lands on the root. So that lick once again. Slow. Lick 3. Slow, that's. So what's happening there is he's playing basically out of the G major blues scale, again the same as the E minor blues scale. The reason why you see the 10s in parentheses is he kind of treats them as ghost notes in the solo. He goes, kind of barely plucks them, but they're still kind of there. If you are playing this, you can play those notes, nice and loud if you want to. Sounds good either way. So then again, he's playing right out of that, the G major blues scale over the G chord. So and he lands on that, on the E note for the E minor chord. Then he does a little, and what that is, it's still, we're still in the E minor blues scale though. But he does a little half step below the root. So you can consider that, whatever scale you want. It's basically an E minor blues scale. And he does a little half step dance below the root. Which adds a cool little sound. So once again, that lick is. One more time slow. Lick 4. This one's one of my favorites in the solo. Sounds like this slow. One more time. So what's happening there in the beginning is these are pickup notes, the first two notes, and then he lands on the flat on the B flat to start that lick. So to start the C's again, we're out of the G major blues scale. But it sounds like instead of playing, it sounds like he's playing. So he's starting on that on kind of the minor third or the sharp 9, however you want to look at it, of G, which is unusual for this kind of solo, but it sounds really good. So definitely a bit of tension and release there because you got the tension of the. Then what he does here is he goes from the 5th of G right down to the 3rd of A, which is a really nice little resolution. Then he plays the A note on the 12th fret. Then after he plays that, he goes. Then he plays the 5th, and then he does a little like banjo-ish kind of pluck on the 12th fret, which is the 7th. The 12th fret of the G string, excuse me, which is the 7th of the A7 chord. That's what the little X is, a little muted note. So fast it sounds like. You can barely hear it. But just a little muted pluck. So the whole lick, one more time. Lick 5. One more time slow. This is a really cool soulful lick that he lays down in towards the end of the chorus here. So what's happening is he does a traditional country lick. And then he goes, so he bends from the 14th to the 15th. While it's still bent up, he plucks it and does that one more time. And he's doing this over the B7 chord. So, which is, you hear all the time over slow blues tunes, something that, Billie Holiday would sing over the 5 chord, in a minor blues. It's kind of like a crying lick, but it happens really quickly at tempo. It's like, so it's really beautiful, but I didn't even really hear it till I had to, I had to slow it down and really hear it. And he was going, which is really nice. So, and you can probably tell that I can barely play it. I'm still practicing it, so I don't really have it quite down yet. But that is what he's doing. Lick 6. Slow. So what's happening here is, you know what? Actually, let's talk about what happens going from lick 5 into this lick. So he goes, and it sounds like he would go. It's kind of what I feel like the average guitar player would do, but he kind of takes it up a notch and goes, which sounds really great. Adds a lot of tension. So bends from the 15th up to the root. Then he goes another one of those licks where he's holding the bent note. He's doing a pre-bend. He's going. So he's already got the G, the 14th fret bent. So he goes. It's a really cool sound. So one more time. Then he does a little to go from the get right out of this whole lick. It's all out of the E minor pentatonic. Lick 7. So now we're in the beginning of the second solo. Slow. It's a really cool soulful lick that he does over the G and E minor chords. So it almost sounds like he's gonna go when he goes. He sounds like he wanted to go, something like that. But if you listen to the recording, the crowd starts going ape shit, and it sounds like he quickly switches gears and goes even higher to feed off the energy of the crowd. So instead of doing something like that, he goes, and the crowd goes nuts, and he goes, so which is really common for all those guys to do, is to feed off the energy of the crowd, as many of you obviously know and have experienced yourself. So again, a little ghost note. I think he almost mutes it. He barely plays it. And then he goes, bends from the 17th up to the B note, and then he releases a little bit, and he goes. So full bend, releases a little bit, and then plucks. So the effect is kind of a blues lick over the E minor chord. Slow. Lick 8. Slow. Again, also out of the G major blues scale, E minor blues scale kind of thing. So he's going. Little ghost note. He barely plucks this note. So it can be a little challenging to switch positions really quickly to go. So you have to go, and then. So a little classic. Another, blues lick. So one more time slow. Lick 9. Another one of my favorites in the solo. Let's play it slow. Another lick right out of the G major blues scale, because we're playing it over the G chord. Again, another unusual moment where he plays the minor third of the G to start the lick. Adds a nice little bit of tension. Again, all these notes are right out of the G major blues scale. So slow. Oh. Lick 10. One more time slow. So this is all out of the E minor blues scale, except we've got the little D sharp there. Plays a half step below the root. Then the rest is right out of the E minor blues scale. He lands on the fifth of the G chord again, which is D. So it's he kind of paints himself into a corner a little bit towards the end of this lick when he goes, which you can tell he does because he stops playing for a second and switches positions and goes right back up to a different scale or a different chord for the next one. So the whole lick. Lick 9 and 10 together. These are kind of this is one big lick that I separated into two for the purposes of just kind of explaining it. But let's play it together. Both again, licks 9 and 10 together. Play it slow. One more time. Lick 11. So we talked about how in the last lick he goes kind of he doesn't really go anywhere from there, but he switches positions and then he goes right up. He goes because he goes. So what he does is he goes again right out of the G major pentatonic. And he connects the third of the G, which is the B note right here. Right there. Connects that to the third of the G, to the root of the A7 chord. Just right there. So it is a little octave. What's interesting about this is if you listen to this part of the solo, the band behind him is really peaking. You can hear everyone's really getting louder and getting more intense. And instead of Jerry, playing a lot of notes, he adds a lot of space in solo. He could go, he could just start playing scales if he wanted to. But instead of that, he goes. So it's cool that he makes that decision to let the whole band, really push underneath him, and he adds a little bit of rhythm rather than playing a ton of notes, which he clearly can do if he wanted to, but he made the choice to go. Which again is a really common banjo rhythm, though. So listen to that part of that solo again, hear what Jerry's doing and how he feeds off the band by playing less, which still kind of makes it really intense, which is pretty cool. Lick 12. Slow. So this is really similar to the way he ended the last. So again, really common blues lick. Again, nice and simple, but still very soulful. Get that kind of crying feel. But he does it at tempo, and tempos. And he still managed to, squeeze all the soul out of those notes while playing at a really quick tempo, because he's Jerry fucking Garcia. I don't think I can quite play it, Doesn't sound nearly as good when I play it at tempo, but that's what Jerry's playing. Lick 13. Well, we've made it. It's the last lick of the solo. One of my favorites also. Sounds like this. Slow, that's... he does a slide. So what's happening here is it's almost like a chicken picking, like a baga kind of. But he doesn't actually do a chicken picking thing. It just kind of sounds like it. Got a little bit of a bend, not a full. He's not bending up to this note or anything. It's kind of a little. Which makes it really funky because, again, he's not going. He's going. Got a little bit of a bend, really subtle. And it's cool that he can do this so well at such a quick tempo. And then he goes. Got a very common vocal thing. And he could have gone right down the blues scale and gone. But instead, he goes. Which I think sounds way better. So last lick slow. Cool. That's it. Thanks for watching. Have fun with this.